Hey there, my name is Colby Gilbert, and this is a overview of the different objects and entities in the Tradovate TypeScript package. Tradovate TypeScript is a SDK for Tradovate's APIs to make connecting and making your own strategies on top of Tradovate much simpler and faster and more efficient. Tradovate's APIs require a lot of boilerplate to just get going, and so this package for TypeScript takes care of that. Now, Tradovate's API has 6 different URLs over 2 different protocols. It has 2 URLs for HTTP and 4 URLs for WebSockets, right? You can see these here. Now, to interface with Tradovate's API, you need to connect over HTTP initially to get a token, and then you can use that token to connect to their WebSocket clients. So that's what Tradovate's service is for. You can use it for any API call over HTTP for Tradovate, but primarily you will likely use it for importing and passing in your credentials to get a access token. Once you have an access token, it'll save it to the storage object for you automatically and save it as a singleton. So now anywhere any of these entities can access that. Primarily, actually, it won't really be this relationship between the blue into storage. It will actually be this request socket coming over here, because all of these will integrate, or use the request socket under the hood. So it kind of looks like this. Is this moving down here? This request socket uses storage. These 3 use the request socket base, and the strategy object, we won't get too much into it, but uses basically everything at a higher level. So that's kind of how at a really high level, how it all fits together. Once Tradovate service, you get a token, it's saved in storage. You can then instantiate and connect a market data socket, a Tradovate socket, or a replay socket. A market data socket, pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It plays live market data, and that's current data, what's happening right now. Replay data is historical, so you can set a certain time, and it will start playing that data forward from that time you specify. Really good for testing strategies, backtesting, different things like that. And the live and demo sockets here are essentially clones of the HTTP versions of live and demo, and allow you to make any API call over a WebSocket connection, so you can have real time. It all happens in sync with either you having your market data or replay data happening as well. So all of these implement a request socket under the hood. It is not an inheritance relationship. Each of these instantiates its own request socket and then uses the functions on top of it. Each of these individually have its own set of nice to have features that are on top of the request socket, which is why they have their own entities here, and you can only pass in these URLs and then use the request socket under the hood. But you can actually pass your own request socket to each of these to have more control. It's up to you. You don't have to pass in a request socket, a base request socket, into these if you don't want to. It'll make its own for each and connect that way. And just to make sure, I mentioned this earlier, but to make sure it's abundantly clear, this request socket will pull your token from the storage singleton and connect that way when you call the .connect function on any of these sockets here. So that's it at a high level. Like I said, I didn't really get into the strategy object too much. The strategy object uses all of them in tandem to create an event loop for you to make custom events, for you to respond to those events, to you integrating your own indicators and creating a full strategy. It really requires its own video, even probably live demo with code. So I don't go into too much, but under the hood, which was the goal of this video, this is kind of how it plays together and why it's split up the way it's split up. So I hope you enjoy. Happy coding. Hope you make lots of money on Tradovate, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.